So just closing your eyes, settling into your body, allowing the skin on your body to become smooth, allowing the structures underneath your skin to just release, to settle around the bones, and to start to notice what is not serving me to be in this peaceful, still position, and just let those things go. Notice the parts of your body that are breathing, your air spaces, the muscles between your ribs, your belly, your chest, your throat, your nasal passageways. Just notice those unconscious places that are breathing for you 24 hours a day, and just become conscious of them for a moment. And see if you can become more of your physical body in your stillness. So, repeating after me the Om Namo before we begin our session. Om Namo Shivago Silasa Aham Kuruniko Sapasatanam Osata Chitimantam Apaso Suryajantam Samalapato Akasesi Wantami Bandito Sumetaso Oroha Samanahomi. Om Namo Shivago Silasa Aham Kuruniko Sapasatanam Osata Chipamantam Gamalapato Pakasisi Wantami Bandito Sumetaso Oroha Samanahomi. Om Namo Shivago Silasa Aham Kuruniko Sapasatanam Osata Chitamantam Apaso Suryajantam Kamalapato Akasesi Wantami Bandito Sumetaso Oroha Samanahomi. Iotewa Manusanam Ioproma Namutamo Ionaha Sapananam Peninsiyam Nanamiham Namoputaya Navanaviyam Nasatyam Himama Navien Nawe Napatangvim Navien Mahaku Himama Hiyamama Namoputaya Na'a Nawa Roha Ayati Minasanti Na'a Nawa Roha Ayati Minasanti Na'a Nawa Roha Ayati Minasanti. Taking a moment to center for one last time in stillness. Rubbing the palms together in front of the heart center. Bringing the chi, bringing your healing energy from your heart to your hands. And then just holding your hands over your client's feet, offering that healing energy to them. And we'll begin. Simultaneous palm press, 1, 2, 1. Lean in, press both palms. Come up, work out the position 2, lean in, press. And back to 1, simultaneous, press. Walking palm presses of the feet, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Press, 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 press. back to 2, press, press, back to 1, press, press. Let's do it again. 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. We're going to be walking up the legs with walking palm press. Baby elephant. Press, 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 press. Kneecaps rotating 5 times. Using your body, arms are straight. Moving your knees up in rhythm with your presses to get over your work. Press, 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 press. Press, simultaneous palm press at the top, just for a beat or two, and walking your way down. Press, 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 press. Down to the knees to rotate when you're there. 5 times. Use straight arms and walking down the leg. Press, 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 press. Remember the heels. Press, press. And you'll finish with a 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 on the feet out and back. Getting ready for 6 points at the bottom of the feet. You just get yourself, make sure you're relaxed in a good position. And we'll do 6 points. The first point is the middle of the foot up near the toes. The center line of the foot up near the toes is position 1. We'll press through these 6 points. Press simultaneously. Position 2, middle of the foot, press. Position 3 near the heel, calcaneus, press. Up towards the ceiling, position 4, press. Halfway to the base of the big toe, press. Position 6, press. We're going to go again, holding for 10 seconds. Sink in, position 1, 2, 3. Hold. 5, 6, 7, 8, releasing, 9, 10, position 2, 1, 2, 3, hold in deep, 5, 6, 7, 8, releasing, 9, 10. Third point near the heel, sink in, 1, 2, hold it there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, releasing, 9, 10. Fourth point on the arch of the foot, sink in, 1, 2, 3, holding, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, releasing, 10. Fifth position, sink in, 10 seconds. Check for a comfortable back and straight arms, might help a little. Releasing, coming out to the 6th position, base of the big toe, just before the bone. 7, 8, 9, 10, releasing. We'll go through the sequence one more time, a little light and a little quicker. Press. Position 2, press. Press. Position 4 up towards the ceiling, press, arch of the foot, middle of the arch, press, just before the big toe, press. Good. Let's clear the slate with some palm presses of the feet. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Pause for a moment. We're going to do 5 lines bottom of the foot. Each line begins in point number 3, which is the point just distal to the heel, to the calcaneus bone. So let's sink in simultaneously in the beginning point of all 5 lines. Press. And now we thumb press out simultaneously towards the big toe. Press. 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 Thumb circle out to the end of the toe. Just a nice soft squeeze at the end. And again, line 2. Press, 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 press until you find bone. Thumb circle out. Nice gentle squeeze at the end. Line 3. Start at the heel. Press, 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 press. When you encounter your bone, once again, thumb circle out. Squeeze at the end. You might want to go underhand for the last 2 lines. Line 4. Press, 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 press. Finger circle out and squeeze. Last line. Press, 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 press. Thumb circle and a nice squeeze. Let's return to walking the feet. Palm press 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Nice rocking motion. Straight arms. Keeping that same nice rhythm. Scooting forward to get ready for 4 lines on the bottom of the, on top of the feet. Turn the tops of the feet up towards the sky. Come up off of your heels. Straight arms, 1, 2, 1. We're pressing simultaneously just in front of the ankle. Rising up, coming out towards the toes, pressing down with straight arms. Rising up, pressing down again, position 1. Sit on your heels or on the floor. The first position of every line is the divot, and we're going to be flexing the feet. So rise up to do it with straight arms. Come back down, and we'll work that first line with thumb circles between the bones and the tendons. As you get to the webbing of the toe between the big toe and the next toe, switch over to the big toe with thumb circles, get to the end, and give a nice little finger snap pop off. Again, thumb and stomach 42 point, rise up, straight arms, work the second line. As you eventually get to the webbing between the second and third toe, jump onto the second toe, thumb circle out, pop off. Just set yourself up again. You're rising with straight arms. Third line. Get in there nicely. As you get more distal, you can work in a little deeper. Third toe. Thumb circle, pop off. Last line, but not the last toe. We'll do the fourth line between the smallest and the next to smallest toe. Switching onto that next to smallest toe. Popping off. Straight arms, stomach 42 point. And now finger circle the outside edge, the pinky edge of the foot. Switch onto the pinky toe. Thumb circle out. Pop off. Scoot back. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Palm press. Let's walk up the legs and back. Press, 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 press. Come up to the knees. Walk up the thighs. Be careful. Stay on top here. Baby elephant walk. Simultaneous press at the top. Once you're finished with that, working your way down. Remembering the knee rotation. And finishing on a 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 on the feet. We're switching to one leg at a time right now. So we'll be doing the left leg first. So when you're ready, go ahead and support their left leg with your left leg. Your left leg right now is your inside leg. Your left hand is your inside hand right now. So your right leg is your outside leg. Your right hand is your outside hand. Don't know if I just said that right, but you get it. Rotation. Inside hand is cupped under the heel. Outside hand is your Hal hand. 5 times. Keep your elbow in to use your rocking motion of your body for your strength. 5 times one way. 5 times the other way. Little bit of traction with the heel of the hand too. See if their chin is rocking, saying yes. Yes. That's what you're looking for. Rotation, pull and rotate. Everything is the same. We're reaching over the foot. Position 1 is closest to the ankle. Lean back and then outwardly rotate. Position 2, lean back, outwardly rotate. Position 3, external rotate. Position 2, little bit less. Position 1, the most gentle. Switching hands, outside hand comes underneath heel, inside hand reaches across, position 1 closest to the ankle. Lean back, internal, gentle. Lean back, position 2, internal, little more. Lean back, the deepest internal rotation. Back to 2, back to 1. Return the foot to its neutral position, rotating and pulling toes. Remembering if you get an adjustment in the toe, to rotate again. When you are finished with all 5 toes, give a nice little foot massage. And think about transitioning to the other side. It's nice to traction the heel as you slip out. When you do so, make some contact with the other leg before you let go of the first leg. And slip your inside or right leg underneath their right leg. Traction, which we forgot on the first one. Inside hand is underneath the heel, outside hand is draped over the foot, lean back to traction. And we'll begin our rotations. Hal hand is the outside hand. Inside hand is cupping the heel. Their chin should be nodding up and down. Affect the whole body with these. Both of your elbows are in towards your own ribs. After 5, reverse. Keep the same hand position. Reach across to position 1 for the external rotation. Lean back to traction the heel. Externally rotate gentle. Return. Lean back, traction the heel. Externally rotate medium. Position 2. Position 3, strongest. Back to 2, mediumest. Most gentle, number 1. Switch hands, outside hand comes under heel. Inside hand reaches across, position 1, closest to ankle. Lean back to traction, internal, gentle. Return. Lean back to traction, the heel, internal, medium. Return. Lean, 3. Lean, 2. Lean back, 1. Rotate and pull toes. Giving nice support to the whole toe, so you're not just pulling the end. If anything, you're looking at maybe getting an adjustment in the main knuckle, not the middle one out near the end of the toe. Again, if you do get an adjustment, rotate again just to reset it in there. and then a nice little foot massage. Knowing that we're going to be transitioning to inside leg lines on their left. So you're going to need to be ready for that. Getting a slight bit of traction to the leg to come out. And positioning yourself for inside leg line, left leg. We'll be transitioning to the next leg, the closer one to us, for outside afterwards. We'll be opening up with a palm press A, doing 3 leg lines, and then closing with palm press B. To open, left hand, your left hand is on their upper inner thigh, right hand is on their ankle, lean in, contraction from both ends. And let's begin. Shimmying in, palm press A, press, 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 press. Meeting at the knee, coming back out to either end, press, 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 press. Coming back in to meet at the knee, and then hand follows hand, down to the ankle, giving a nice little twisting traction to the ankle. All 3 inside leg lines begin between the medial malleolus, the ankle bone, and the Achilles tendon. So they all start in this 1/2 inch to 1 inch, depending on how big the spine is, this little space. Thumb on top of thumb begins your line. Lean in, thumb on top of thumb. And now follow up line 1, just underneath that bony ridge. Press, 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 press. Taking our time on this first one. Let's look at line 1 on the inner thigh. It starts at their upper inner corner of their patella. Let's go up line 1. Press, 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 press. Thumb on top of thumb, an inguinal crease finishes the line. Let's come on down after you're up there. Press, 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 press. We're aiming towards their upper inner corner of their patella, and then continuing below the knee in that nice groove. Just your side of that bony ridge. Line 1. Finishing the line, thumb on top of thumb, between the calcaneus, medial malleolus and the Achilles tendon. Work down just a notch towards yourself to begin line 2. Thumb on top of thumb. Make sure you're over your work. Press, 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 press. Coming up, line 2 is a thumb length down, their thumb length down from line 1. You're getting close to the inseam of their inner thigh here. Not going up quite as high to meet just before the inguinal crease of this one. Thumb on top of thumb finishes the line. And let's work our way back down. Press, 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 press. Skipping over the knee, you're right in the belly of the gastrocnemius, the side of the belly of gastrocnemius, line 2, coming down. When you do get to the bottom, thumb on top of thumb closes the line. Work your way down towards your Achilles tendon, but not on it. Thumb on top of thumb starts the line, and let's go up line 3. Press, 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 press. Coming up to line 3, inner thigh. Press, press. Maybe it's the inseam of his or her pants. Quite often it is. Coming up to the top of your line. Thumb on top of thumb presses and closes the line. Work your way down. Press, 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 press. Coming down below the knee. When you do get to the bottom, thumb on top of thumb closes the line. And we're going to close our lines with palm press B. Palm chases palm. Press, 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 press. Skipping the knee, of course. Up and back down. and finishing with that nice ankle traction. Switching to the leg that's closer to you, outside lunge. So come on back. Get down nice and low. Forearms ideally are on the floor for our opening palm press. So, right hand on their ankle, left hand up on their hip. Lean in to separate. And let's begin. Press, press. Shimmying in. Press, press, press. Coming back out to either end. Coming back in. Meeting at the knee. And hand follows hand down to the ankle. Come on up. And maybe give you a little tailor seat where your right foot is at this point underneath their right foot so you can sit and be above your work. Line 1 is going to start in the stomach 42 little divot above their ankle. Line 2 is going to begin above their malleolus. Line 3 is going to begin between their malleolus and their Achilles tendon. So thumb on top of thumb in the stomach 42 point to start the line. Press simultaneously, thumb on top of thumb. And let's work our way up line 1. Just your side of that bony ridge and that nice little groove. Press, 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 press. Getting maybe to the tib tub if you know what that is. Coming up top, line 1 outside begins of their upper outer corner of their patella. Pretty much at the ridge at the top of the quadriceps of the rectus femoris. Up to the inguinal crease. Thumb on top of thumb, press. Finish the line, and let's work our way down. Watch your fingers here on the upper line 1. Press, 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 press. Coming down line 1 below the knee. When you do get down to the bottom, to finish the line, thumb on top of thumb in that stomach 42 point. If you like, you can expose their outer leg a little more by pressing their foot, by twisting their leg a little bit away from you with your own foot. Line 2 begins about 2 to 3 inches above their malleolus. So thumb on top of thumb begins the line, and let's go. Press, 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 press. Jumping over, you're in the IT band here, coming up the upper leg. You can relax on twisting their foot away from you as much here. You probably don't need to do it at this point. We're coming up close to the greater trochanter, that big bony protuberance. We're not pressing on it, but we're doing the thumb on top of thumb in the fleshy part to end our line 2. And if you're ready, we're going to work our way down. Press, 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 press. Coming down the lower leg. Press, press, press. Stopping in that last bit of meaty area above the lateral malleolus to finish the line. Beginning line 3, between the lateral malleolus and their Achilles tendon, you can twist that foot away from you to expose it a little bit better. Thumb on top of thumb, press. Coming up line 3. You're between line 2 and the back seam of their leg. Back seam is 4. We're on 3. Your forearm should ideally be on the ground, working line 3. Finishing the line right up in that nice sweet spot up in their glute. Holding that for a beat to close the line, and then coming back down. Again, ideally forearms are on the ground, especially for upper line 3. Excuse me, outer line 3. When you do get down to the bottom, it's thumb on top of thumb between the lateral malleolus and the Achilles tendon. Thumb on top of thumb will finish the line. And then we're going to close all 3 lines with palm press B. Again, forearms are on the ground if possible. Palm press, chasing palm press, up and down. And finishing with that nice ankle stretch. Working our way to the other side of their body. So we're just going to get up and walk around below their feet. We're going to be starting with the leg that's furthest away or further away from us. Inside leg lines there. And then we'll do outside lines with the leg that is closer to us. The same sequence. We're going to be opening up with a palm press A. So let's start with your right hand up on their inner thigh, upper inner thigh. Left hand is on their ankle and foot. And we're leaning in and separating our hands to elongate their leg from either end. And let's shimmy in, pressing for palm press A. Press, 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 press. Coming back out to either end. Press, 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 press. Coming back in to meet at the knee. And then hand follows hand, down to the ankle, giving it that nice traction-y twist. Thumb on top of thumb, starts line 1 between the malleolus and the Achilles tendon. Let's begin our first inside line, pressing in. Thumb chases thumb. Press, 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 press. Jumping up to line 1, upper leg, right in line with the upper inner corner of their patella, of their knee cap. Finishing at inguinal crease, thumb on top of thumb. Coming back down, press, 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 press. Lower leg, jumping over the knee, press, 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 press. Finishing the line out, thumb on top of thumb between medial malleolus and Achilles tendon, jumping down just a hair to begin line 2. Thumb on top of thumb to begin the line. And let's go. Thumb chases thumb up the belly of the interior gastrocnemius head. Thumb chases thumb. Our last thumb press is before we get to the bone of the knee. Then we jump over to the inner thigh. Their thumb length down from line 1. Up into the inguinal crease, thumb on top of thumb, press, finish the line, and then working your way down. Press, 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 all the way down to the bottom, line 2, between the medial malleolus and the Achilles tendon. When you do get to the bottom, thumb on top of thumb presses to close the line. Beginning line 3, work your way down towards the Achilles tendon, just a hair. And then let's go up line 3. You're between line 2 and the back seam, or line 4. Staying over your work, try not to reach too far. Watching your hands as you go up into inside line 3. When you get up to the top, thumb on top of thumb presses to finish the line. Whenever you're finished with that, working your way down. Press, 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 press. When you do get to the bottom, thumb on top of thumb, closes the line. And we'll close out all 3 lines with palm press B, Palm chases palm. Make sure you're staying on the inside of the thigh, not on top. You need to maybe get down low. And when you do finish your palm presses up and down, you'll just open that ankle and come back to work outside line of the leg that's closest to you. You're going to get down low for these palm presses. Ideally, your forearms will make it down to the ground. One hand on the ankle, the other up on their hip. Lean in to open that leg up. And then let's do palm press A. Shimmying in towards the knee. Forearms on the ground, if possible. Shimmying back out. Shimmying back in. Palm meets palm to come down to the ankle. Go ahead and sit up. And then give the ankle that nice adjustment, that nice stretch. Your left foot can be below their left foot. You don't need to open up that side quite yet because our line one is pretty much on the top. So let's get our thumb on top of thumb in that nice hollow, that stomach 42 hollow, and press thumb on thumb to begin our line. And let's go up line one. Press, 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 press. Skipping over the knee, line one outside, pretty much right in the middle of the quadriceps. Rectus femoris on top. Inguinal crease, thumb on top of thumb. Work your way down. Make sure you're above your work if possible. Try not to reach too much from the side. Working your way down. You're in that nice groove right next to that bony ridge. If you're at the bottom, then you're finishing in line with the thumb on top of thumb. And now go ahead and internally rotate their leg using your own foot to bring their outside lines a little higher up, so you're over your work. Thumb on top of thumb begins line 2 to 3 inches above their lateral malleolus. So let's begin line 2, thumb on top of thumb, and work your way up. If your fingers are pointing out now, that's absolutely fine. As you come up, you might want to bring your fingers in to have a little more of a polite reach there for them. Do not end your line on anything bony. Find that nice little divot and then work your way down. You're in the IT band here. Press, 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 press. Finishing line 2, thumb on top of thumb. Line 3 begins between lateral malleolus and their Achilles tendon. Thumb on top of thumb begins the line, and let's go up. Press, 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 press. Forearm should be down. Press, 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 press. Press, press, press. Line 3 is going to end up in that nice sweet spot up in the glute. See if with your forearms down you can get thumb on top of thumb when you reach that area. And if you've done that, then you can start working your way down. Press, 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 press. Forearms are down, towards or on the ground. Thumb on top of thumb finishes the line. You can release your hold on their foot if you've got it there and get down as low as you can to close the lines down with some thumb presses. Up and down, compress, deep. When you do make it back down, then you'll give that ankle a nice opening. Think about that you're going to be down at their feet again next. So make sure you're ready for that with any cushions you might need. We're going to be walking up and down the leg with stopping the blood flow at the top. So go ahead and start to lean in, starting your 1, 2, 3, 2, 1s on the feet. Press, 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 rest. Walking up the leg, staying on flesh, off of bone. Get above your work. Rotate the knees 5 times on the way up. Walking up the thighs with your nice baby elephant feet. Finding that perfect place to sink in. Looking for that pulse point on either side. Leaning in with flat palms, not doing anything extra with the heel of your hand. Straight arms, so you yourself are not working too hard. You're using your body weight and gravity. And when you feel like you're in a good place for them and yourself, you can go ahead and close your eyes if you like. We're here 30 to 45 seconds. Walking your knees up slightly so that you can come up slowly and then gently walking back down. Just gently. Little newborn baby elephant steps. Rotating the knees. Walking down to the feet. Palm pressing 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Press, 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 press. One leg at a time again. So we're doing left leg first. Go ahead and bend their knee, bringing them into sort of a backwards number 4. We'll be opening their hip with simultaneous palm presses first. These presses are going to start at the top, work their way out, and come back. So let's lean in. We're on inner thighs, everybody. Inner thighs. Press position 1. Position 2. Out towards, but not on the knees for position 3. Back to position 2. Back to position 1. We are leaving our right hand on their inner thigh the entire time of this part of the sequence. So right hand is on inner thigh, left hand is now on their foot. So let's do some walking palm presses between their hip and their knee on their thigh, and up and down between their toes and their heel with our left hand. Continue to palm press their upper thigh with your right hand as your left hand starts to walk up their lower leg. Alternating palm presses, lean back and forth. We're meeting up at the knee. Both palms are meeting below and above the knee. And then we'll change to butterfly palm presses, starting closest to the knee, leaning in gentle. Inner thigh, middle, upper, maybe you're going deeper here, coming back out, back to position 1. Same sequence in reverse. Right hand is on inner thigh, pumping up and down, left hand is pumping, coming down the leg. We end up with our left hand on their foot, our right hand on their thigh. Getting ready for foot pumping. Foot presses. Opening their knee out, to more or less a 90-degree angle. Scooting in or out to wherever you feel is going to be appropriate. Your left or inner hand is on their straight leg, ankle. Your right or outer hand is cupping from underneath their foot, cupping their heel. Your outer foot is doing the first pump, the inner leg is doing the second one. So get in position, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Straighten your leg closest to the knee, your foot closest to the knee for 1. Move your foot towards their hip just a little bit, 2. Right in the middle between the knee and the hip is 3. Try to sit up straight and see if maybe you're in the position to straighten your leg. Give them a nice stretch. Back to 1. Hook their foot over your shin to lock it in place. Hold their heel with your outer hand from above their ankle, heel. Inner leg does the pumping now. If you need to, move out a little bit so you're perpendicular with their leg and not in an angle where you slip off when you do your pump. Position 1 is halfway between their knee and their hip. Straighten the leg. Position 2, straighten your leg. Position 3 is closest up into their hip. Straighten. This is the strongest one. Back to 2. Back to 1. Both feet are in position 1. We're doing double leg foot pumps here. Unhook the heel from in front of your leg. Scoot up a little more most likely. And we're going to do walking foot presses. Outside is first. Press 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Slip your toes down a little bit so that you're in leg line 1, inside line 1. Cross their shin in front of your shins. Scoot up so you can reach across. Reach over to line 3 outside of their upper 3 and pull back over your toes. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2 is further out towards the knee. 3 is towards the knee. Let's come back towards the hip for 2, all the way back towards the hip for 1. Supporting their knee with your outside or right hand. Inside hand is your wrapping hand. Loose wrist. Out to the knee, back to the hip, back out to the knee. Placing their foot on the ground, coming to kneel, facing up. Make sure their foot is in line with their body and not out at an angle. Their heel is away from their butt. Finger hooking, line 1. Placing your inside hand above your outside hand. Leaning in, if that's what you need to do, whatever you need for support, and let's finger hook down. Pull, 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 pull. Not too much movement, just trying to get our finger hooks into that line 1. Side to side, but without too much movement. Try to isolate it, but pull into it if that works for you. Good. Knee down to hip and back up. Lean yourself back up. Bring their heel as close to their butt as you can get it. Make sure once again that their foot is in line and not at an angle. Get your butt on the floor, whether you sit between your ankles or straighten your legs. Your butt is on the floor. Your arms are straight for this. Line 2 is being squeezed by your palms. Squeeze in, straight arms, lean back. 1. Move down towards the hip. Squeeze the heel of your hands into their line 2. Lean back, straight arms. Down by their hip, strongest leaning power here. 3. Back to 2. Straight arms. Back to 1. Come up onto your knees again to scoot back. Bring their heel away from their body. We're going to ice tongue, line 3. Interlace the fingers so that it's going to fit around their thigh properly. Elbow action is what causes the squeeze, not thumb action. Up towards the knee, lower the elbows. Release, lower the elbows. Take it slow, just like your palm presses. Press. 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 Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 times. Depends on how big they are. Down towards their hip. Up, back to the knee. Line 3. Line 4, thumb on top of thumb, back seam of their thigh. Up towards the back of their knee to begin, thumb on top of thumb, press. Press. Watch your fingers as you go further down, press. You're going down as far as the ischial tuberosity, and if you find the ischial tuberosity, come back up towards yourself a tiny bit and then press in. Michael Jackson moonwalk, back up. Copyrighted by me. Come on back. Finger hooking between the heads of the gastrocnemius by leaning back. Your fingernails are touching each other. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Back up to the top. Now we're going to be pulling side to side. Same finger position, same hand position for you, but we're pulling to the side. And then the other side. Working our way down and then back up again. Making yourself some room if you need it. For lemon squeeze, starting at the top, interlace the fingers, heels of hands squeeze together, and then rotate the slip off. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, down and back up again. And finishing off by doing a nice little massage on the calf. Knowing that you're about to do knee to shoulder. Lunges for yourself. They're going to be knee to shoulder. So psych yourself up for that. What do you need? Where are you going to be? Take their knee. Start to bring it into the air. Put the bottom of their foot in your inguinal crease. Lunge forward with your outside or your right foot. Let's make some circles with your leg by supporting their knee from either side while we lunge. Our lunging forward and back, rather than our arm movements, creates this rotation. One way and then the other, just to loosen them up. And then plant your foot either next to their hip or more forward if they're more flexible. Your foot is next to their hip. Your outside hand is supporting their knee. Your inside hand is on the upper part of their thigh. And we're going to lunge forward, their knee to their same side shoulder. 1 is gentlest. As you come up, move your foot forward, move your hand back towards their knee. 2. Same repetition. More forward with the foot, more back with the hand. 3. Come back up. 2. A little more gentle there. Come back up. 1. The most gentle again. Bring your foot away from their body and angle it out 45 degrees and allow their knee to fall out. Inside or left hand just stays on the top. Right hand or outside hand is going to work your way from the knee down towards the hip and back up again. So, pressing down first and then lunging forward. Release the lunge, then release the press. Move your hand to middle or number 2. Press down, lunge forward. Release the lunge, release the press. Position 3. Press, lunge. Back to 2. Press, lunge. Back to 1. Press and lunge, the most gentle. bringing their knee back to center, crossing your ankle over their ankle, if that's something you think you're going to need to do for them. Less flexible people will need that assistance keeping their leg down. If it's comfortable for you to do that, this is hamstring stretch 1, 2, 3, 4. Our first position is with our outside or our right hand closest to their hip on their thigh. So we're going to press that towards their opposite shoulder. Their knee goes to the opposite shoulder. Then with a howl hand, straightening the leg. 1. Releasing the howl hand, releasing the press on the thigh. Position 2. To opposite shoulder, howl hand presses leg a little straighter. Release, release. Third position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring the knee down, placing the foot into a nice knee down twist. Switching which foot is down, which knee is down. Your inside or left hand is on their knee. Your outside or right hand is on their hip. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3. 1, soft, seesaw back. 2, medium, press on their hip to bring them back. 3, if they're going to make it down to the ground, to the mat, this is where you'll do that. And if you like, stay there and just do a little bit of thumbing action in that exposed higher up hip there. Into the glutes, into that sweet spot, into the IT band a little. Good. Bringing them back up slowly. It's a deep stretch. Bringing them up slowly. Bringing their knee towards their shoulder, their heel towards their buttocks. And get yourself into position for automatic 1, 2, 3. So the number 1 of 1, 2, 3 is just placing your foot. Inside hand is under their heel. Outside hand is holding their foot from the top part of their foot. And we're going to lean back more gently on this one. Keeping your foot and leg exactly as they are. Just push away as far as you can. Then bring them back over your foot. You've got a bit of a flexed foot here. Bring them as far forward as you can. Now you've got a little more of your Barbie foot here as you bring the ischial tuberosity onto the ball of your foot. Barbie foot. Now flex your foot to bring them off the ground a little more, and then re-Barbie your foot. So you're not pointing your toes, you're pointing your foot and allowing your toes to be relaxed. If you want, you can give a little bit of a gentle wiggle with your own ankle side to side. Keep the traction nice and strong, and while you keep your traction nice and strong, slowly take your foot out and reposition yourself to give them the nice little high spring roll at grandma's house. Your intention is to roll the head of their femur in their hip. Sort of reset all that. Come on back down to the bottom. We're going to walk up and down the legs again before we switch sides. So, let's palm press the feet out and back. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Press, 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 press. We'll walk up the leg, remembering the heels. Kneecaps get some nice rotations. Your arms are straight. You're using a little more leaning action rather than arm and shoulder action. Working our way up. Giving that nice double or simultaneous palm press to flatten out their sacrum just for a beat before coming back down. And eventually we'll all meet down at the feet, palm pressing out and back. Magic number 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. right leg comes into a bent position, making a number 4 out of both of their legs. Get over your work by finding a lunging position or a half kneeling position that suits you. And we're going to be doing simultaneous palm press at the top, but the inner thigh. Coming out to middle towards the knee, a little stronger. Coming out towards the knees, but not on the knee. The deepest you're going to go today on that stretch. Coming back up. Coming back up. Left hand stays on the inner thigh, while right hand moves around with our nice alternating palm press. Left hand is on inner thigh, working from hip to knee, knee back to hip, while right hand is walking up and down the sole of the foot that's been turned up for you. Continuing this action as the right hand comes up the lower leg, up the calf, palm presses, to meet below and above the knee, left and right hand, where they will join into a butterfly palm press, pressing on the inner thigh, on the inseam of their inner thigh. 1, 2, 3, back to 2, back to 1. Back to alternating palm presses. Left hand is palm pressing the inner thigh, the inseam, while right hand palm presses down the leg, down to the foot. And now we're ready for leg presses. Position yourself, open their knee up, possibly to a 90-degree angle, depends on their flexibility. Your outside or left hand is cupping underneath their foot and their heel. Your right hand is going to be on their straight leg ankle. Scoot up or back. Position 1 with outer foot, outer leg. Straighten the leg for press 1. Return. Position 2, halfway towards the middle of the thigh. Release. Position 3, halfway between the knee and the hip. Release. Back to 2. Back to 1. Lock their leg in by crossing the top of their foot inside your own knee. Maybe scoot to the left a little to get a nice position there. Position 1, inner leg, your inner leg, is halfway between their knee and their hip. Straighten the leg for a nice, strong press. Release. Move your foot to position 2 towards their hip. Press. Towards their hip, position 3. Press. Back to 2. Press. Back to 1. Straighten the knee, make it nice. Good. Unhook the foot. Magically, your feet are both in position 1. Inner and outer are both in position 1. Scoot up because they've opened up more. So you're going to have to push them up even more. Scoot up. Make sure you're perpendicular. Walking foot presses. Press outer leg first. 1. Press inner leg. Hold it there. Outer leg. 2. Move the inner leg. 2. 3. 3. 2. 2, 1, 1. Cross their shin in front of both of your shins. Your toes end up on your inner thigh. Scoot up. Reach across to the other side and then a little more of their thigh. And then pull towards you. Straight arms. Give your own lower back a nice little stretch here as you sit up straight and lean back. Nice. Position 3 out towards the knee. Both hands are moving together. Sit up straight. That gives you your pull, and it gives you a nice stretch on your lower back. Wonderful. Outside or left hand holds the knee. Inside hand with a very loose wrist. Out to knee, back to hip, back out to knee, and out. placing their foot on the ground, kneeling in front of them. Their heel is 6 or 8 inches or whatever away from their butt, not into their butt. Finger hooking line 1. Line 1 inside and outside. Placing your inner hand, your right first, and then your left. And then working your way from knee down to hip. Getting in there into line 1. Back up towards the knee. Leaning up to be able to place their heel all the way up to, or at least towards, their butt. Getting your butt down on the ground, either between your heels or straightening your legs out. Interlacing the fingers, position 1 is up towards the knee. Squeeze together and then lean back with straight arms. Release, slide down halfway, squeeze and lean. Slide down towards the hip, squeeze and lean the strongest. And then work your way back up. 2, 1. Come up off your butt. Bring their heel away from their butt. Give some support by having your knee or just above your knee holding onto their ankle. Lean in if that's appropriate for you and them. And then we're going to ice tongue line 3. Lowering the shoulders to make the squeeze happen. This does not need to be super deep. And it's not the tips of your fingers, it's the pads of your thumbs. Down to the hip, back up towards the knee, but not on the knee itself. Making sure you have enough room to do line 4, thumb on top of thumb, the very back seam of the thigh, right down the belly of the hamstring, thumb on top of thumb presses, and once again, your inner or right fingers need to be made into a fist as you go down. So that your fingers are polite as you get all the way down towards the ischial tuberosity. If you get to it, that's great. Then sink up towards the sky and then press in. And then Michael Jackson, moonwalk back. And thumb on top of thumb at the top just to finish the line. Lean back, finger nails are touching, 2 little finger hooks. And just lean back. Center seam between the gastrocnemius. We're just leaning back into that line. We're not separating the heads at all. Down and back up. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to separate one head to one side and then the other. Stay in that center line. 1 and the other. 1 and the other. Coming back up, 1, other, coming all the way back up. Lemon squeeze, starting at the top. Squeeze, rotate off the bottom edge. Squeeze, rotate. Squeeze, rotate the bottom. Let's go back up to 2. Back up to 1. And then give a nice little massage on the calf, getting ready for knee to shoulder. So we're going to raise the knee and get their foot in our inguinal crease. Lunging, half kneeling with your left or outer foot down, with your inner or right knee down. Giving some support on either side of the knee and doing some rotating by you lunging. Get your own stretches out of this. Make it feel good for yourself too. Good. Finding that neutral position, finding due to their flexibility where your beginning point is with your outside or left foot. Your inside hand starts at the top of their thigh, opposite thigh. Good. And let's lunge forward. Gentle. As you come up, move your foot forward, move your hand back towards their knee. Lunge 2. Come on up, set up for 3. Lunge 3 deepest. Back to 2. Back to 1. Come up and then move your foot out and angle it out so that their knee drops out. Right or inner hand stays at the top of their thigh. Left hand is moving from knee down to hip and back up again. So we're going to press down first gently and then lunge forward. Release the lunge, release the press. Press in position 2, lunge forward. Release, release. Position 3, which is deepest, forward. Back to 2. Back to 1. Keep it gentle. Bring their knee back. If you need to cross your ankle over their ankle behind you, go ahead and do so. First position is outside hand closest to their hip on their thigh. Your right hand is your howl hand. Press towards the opposite shoulder into their thigh and then gently, partially straighten the leg. Release the howl hand, release the thigh. Position 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Position 3, closest to the knee, opposite shoulder, 1, straighten the leg out, release the knee, release the thigh, bring that foot right down on the other side of their knee. Switch your kneeling knee and your kneeling foot. And let's go into our 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, a little deeper. 3, find their depth, don't go too far, give them a nice full stretch. As long as they're relaxed in the stretch, you go ahead and do a little bit of thumbing. They're making a face, back off a little. Let's slowly bring them out of the twist. Bring their knee up towards their chest, their heel towards their buttocks. And we're ready to do automatic 1, 2, 3. Your inner leg has its foot up against their thigh. Your outer hand or left hand is their heel. Your inner hand is reaching on their foot. Go ahead and lean back. And you're not really going to straighten on this one. Their knee's probably going to stay bent on this first one. Push them away as far as you can. Don't move your own foot. Come on back. Now maybe you're a little more into a Barbie foot and their knee is straightening. Press it as far away as you can. Give them that Barbie foot in the ischial tuberosity. Once you feel like you're there comfortably, confidently, now flex your foot back towards yourself and then Barbie foot yourself forward. So you're pointing your foot, but your toes are relaxed. If you think it's appropriate, give them a little bit of wiggle back and forth. Arms are straight for the most part. You lean all the way back, that is. Good. Keep your traction on their foot as you slowly remove your foot and bring them over to Grandma's house for Thai spring rolls. We're back to simultaneous legs as opposed to individual legs. We're getting into our leg lifts now. If you have a pillow underneath their head, this is where they're going to need to have it removed. So, Kneeling at the bottom, bringing their heels together. Knowing that you're going to be lunging either on your knees or standing up with straight legs to do this. So you'll find your nice way of getting up and find yourself positioned. I'm going to get up just for demonstration purposes. So you are standing far enough away so that when we begin, your arms are straight, but they're not in L yet. If they're already in L, then you're too close in. So back off. So lunging, bending that front knee, bringing them into L. Coming back, lunging back, bringing them into V, or taking it a little further. Straight arms. Coming back, giving them their L again, a less intense stretch. Beautiful. Separating their feet. We're back to individual again here. Left leg first, so you're bending their right knee, crossing it over their knee like a 4. And everything their shoulders to one side. And bringing their knee back. Tai Chi. Keeping their bottom of their foot in the same plane as much as possible. So we're coming forward, smoothly 1, smoothly 2, bending your front knee, 3, good, back to 2, back to 1, stepping out, uncrossing their legs for them, bending their other knee with your knee, crossing them over, stepping through, Tai Chi this side. Sliding forward on one plane. 1, 2, 3 is deepest. Back to 2. Back to 1. Uncrossing the legs, getting ready for horse. We forgot shoulder stand, I apologize. Getting ready for horse, which is 1, 2, 3. So, getting yourself in position. The first position is closest to their buttocks. The next one will be towards their knee, but not beyond the midpoint. So, leaning in with your knees, opening up their legs, letting it come back under your knees, moving an inch or so forward, straightening your arms to straighten your legs, coming back to maybe mid-thigh, straightening out. Gently coming out, slowly lifting off, stepping through to get ready for frog, trying to ask them to allow you to move your feet underneath their arms. So basically your ankles are up around their armpits. Moving their feet together in front of your thighs. And you're bending your knees enough that your arms can be straight. You're sticking your own butt behind you some. Your tailbone is sticking out behind you. Asking them to inhale with you. And exhale, bending your knees, not your arms, down towards the sternum and then coming up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly opening up their feet and giving themselves just a little bit of a rocking. Straightening our legs here and then coming down. And getting ready for side lying position. So finding your pillow. We're going to be working on their left side first, so you'll be putting the pillow in their right outstretched arm. Trying to do as much of the work for them as you can for turning them onto their side. So crossing their foot over their knee, And as you put them into a twist, guiding them with their wrist into a comfortable sideline position and making sure that their straight leg is not sitting on top of their bent leg foot. Stepping over them with your left leg to put your foot, your heel, right in front of their knee. And then we'll do our palm presses on their hip and glute. And now maybe while you're doing this, you want to think about, do I have somewhere to sit above their head? And if you don't, just know that you'll grab that on your way over later on. So we're doing some nice palm presses. You can use the heel of your hand a little here to get in between any of the bony structure to open up the area. And then after some presses with your palms and the heels of your palms, you can start to switch over to 3 points, more or less, thumb presses of the hip. Press, 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 press. Keeping that nice rhythm throughout your work. And closing off the area with palm presses. Switching your angle, switching your approach to get in there nice and thorough. And then before you remove your foot, finish your presses. And then remove your foot to come and work in their lamina groove, for the most part, in sideline position. We're going to start with a palm press. It's the same as palm press B, up and down. So go ahead and find the spine first with your thumb so you know where the spine is, and it'll be above that or towards the ceiling where the lamina groove is we're working on. So finding that lamina groove and then taking some nice palm presses up and down. Not pressing too hard because we don't want to press them onto their belly. We don't want to push them down onto the ground. Press, 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 press. When you're done with your up and down palm presses, find the most bottom part of their lamina groove just above their hip and do a thumb on top of thumb to start the line. And then start working your thumb press line up the lamina groove from hip up to about the midline of the scapula. We're not going up into the neck. Press, 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 press. When you do reach the top of your line, midline of scapula, thumb on top of thumb to finish the line going up, and then thumb chases thumb, coming down the lamina groove towards the hip. Press, 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 press. When you do find the bottom, thumb on top of thumb finishes the line. And when you have finished the line, it'll be palm chasing palm, up and down, from hip up to scapula, back down to hip. Now is when you want to be sure you're going to have something to sit on above their head. And we're going to be moving above them in order to do our shoulder press to begin with. So once you are there and you've got what you need, you want to move their elbow down more towards their belly. Butterfly palm press. Some of your fingers are on their deltoid on your right hand. Your other fingers are draped over their shoulder blade. And we're going to press in. Go slow. There's no rush here. Press in slow. If you find any speed bumps, slow down, go around them, maybe release your pressure a little bit and find a different angle so that you can sense that it's 1,000% comfortable for them to have this nice, deep press. We're going to start doing alternate palm presses. Our right hand is going to stay where it is, whereas our left hand will eventually start to travel around. But for now, we're doing alternate palm presses right where we're at, starting to split up our butterfly palm press. Our right hand stays with fingers draped over the deltoid. Our left hand, in this pumping action, starts to track up and out, back and forth along the trapezius. So from neck out to shoulder, back to neck is the left palm. It's okay to use the heel of your palm here as a slightly sharper tool. Press, 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 press. So we're in alternating palm presses now. We're going to keep the palm press in our right hand, and we're going to change to thumb presses with our left hand along the trapezius between the neck and the shoulder. So pumping with our palm of our right hand and pressing with the thumb of our left. And let's change to palming with both. We can keep tracking back and forth with our left palm along the trap. And then let's just come back to a nice still butterfly palm press, pressing the top of the shoulder down towards their hip. Rather than into their body, it's down towards their hip. Slowly release that and work your way back to the side of their body in order to rotate their shoulder, and then we'll do some scapular work. So taking their arm behind them, slipping your left arm underneath and cupping their deltoid with your left hand. Cupping the entire area and doing some gentle. They don't have to be really huge. First gentle, maybe moving a little deeper, some rotation here. One way then the other. And then we're going to keep this sandwich between their deltoid and their shoulder blade. And we're just going to squeeze in there. Brace your right elbow. Try to keep their shoulder in space, in the same place in space right now. So you're pushing forward and squeezing back the same amount to keep it in the same place. And now we're going to move it back in space by continuing to squeeze, but bringing them back some. And you might be lowering down to give yourself some room to do that. So we're bringing them back. Think about stretching their pectoral muscle while bringing the sandwich back. Starting softer, moving deeper. Keeping their hand behind their butt if that's comfortably where it can be. Switching our right hand so that we're using our thumb behind and possibly underneath the shoulder blade. Starting at the top, bringing their shoulder back, releasing, moving the thumb down just a feet. Maybe you're getting up into subscapularis, maybe not. Not forcing anything, but encouraging the release by pulling it back a little deeper on the third one. Moving our thumb back up towards their head on the second one. And back up a little more for the last one. Reversing our move. Let's first just do a little bit of thumbing action up that groove there, subscapularis. Be nice to it until we're working in there deep. And now let's make that sandwich again, bringing them back in space. Nothing too deep here. Good. And maybe just doing a little bit of shoulder circles here. Knowing our last move on this part is going to be that shoulder away from hip kind of twist. So our left hand is on their hip, our right hand is on their deltoid, with our fingers draped pretty much in the same way that their pectoral muscles would go. All right? And then we're pushing in one plane. We're not pressing down, we're pressing away and towards ourselves. Away with the hip, towards ourselves with their shoulder. 1, 2, 3. 2 is deeper. 3 is the deepest you're going to go today with them. And then slowly release the pressure and slowly bring their arm back to the pillow and just do some very gentle palm presses along their back. We're going to ask them to slowly work their way onto their back. So please roll onto your back very slow. We're going to ask them just to scoot towards us a little to refine the center of the mat. And we're going to place the the pillow on the other side. Taking whatever cushions you need to do to make it work on this side. Once you feel like all of their cushions and your cushions are in a good place, we will then position them on their side. So take their foot and cross it over their knee. Take their arm by their wrist and encourage them to roll onto their side. Check their legs, make sure they're where you want them. Make sure they haven't rolled onto their belly too much, that they're still on their side. Step across to brace their in front of their knee. And then we'll start our palm presses on their hip and glutes. Pressing in different places at maybe slightly different angles in order to get a nice thorough job done in there. Allowing any bony protuberances to stay underneath the part of your palm that is not pressing in. So only pressing into the fleshy areas. And then switching with straight arms into thumb presses. Slowly. We're in no rush here. You can't go too deep. You can just go too fast. And then back to palm presses. Before releasing your foot in front of their knee, finish up with your palm presses and then take your foot away. Coming to kneel, the side of their body. Finding their spine with a very gentle probing of your thumb so that you know where their laminar groove is, above or towards the ceiling, the upper part. And then let's begin our palm presses up the laminar groove from hip to scapula and back down again. Thumb on top of thumb at the bottom of the laminar groove, just above the hip. Begins the line. And then it'll be thumb chasing thumb, thumb presses up the laminar groove from hip up to the midline of the scapula. Press, 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 press. press, 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 press. If you are at the top, then it's thumb on top of thumb, and then coming back down. Press, 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 press. When you do get to the bottom, thumb on top of thumb to close the line. And when you have finished your line, this palm press, following palm press, up and down. Hit the midline of scapula and back down. Next, we'll be making our way above them to get in line for our shoulder press. So we'll be beginning with a butterfly palm press down, and then our left hand stays more stationary while our right hand is going to do more of the movement. So moving their elbow closer to their belly, and then butterfly palm press, pressing down towards their hip, finding the most comfortable and deep position for their shoulder. And then starting our movements, right hand stays in the same place but pumps, while the left palm pumps as well and starts tracking along the trapezius from shoulder to neck and then back to shoulder. Press, 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 press. Keeping your left palm pressing, the fingers over the deltoid right where it is, changing to thumb presses with your right hand, right thumb, tracking along the trapezius. Press, 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 changing back to both palms. The left can still be tracking, the right can still be tracking along the trapezius while the left is staying stationary. And then we'll just transition to our nice butterfly palm press from the beginning. Slowly releasing that deep stretch and working our way around to the side, kneeling behind them, getting ready to do some shoulder rotations. You're facing up towards their head as opposed to in towards their back. You're taking the arm behind them and your arm underneath that arm to cup their deltoid, supporting on the other side and just doing some gentle rotations. One way and then the other. Keeping that sandwich and just pressing equally from both sides, keeping that shoulder in the same plane that it already is. Pumping from both sides, bracing your left elbow so that you can now start to bring that shoulder back in space, still in its sandwich, bringing a nice stretch to the pectoral muscles. This can be pretty strong. And then either keeping your elbow where it is, or perhaps you'll need to lower it even more to get your thumb looking for subscapularis. working along that border of the scapula, bringing the shoulder back in space, over your thumb, coming down, 1, 2, 3, coming back up, 2, 1. After finishing up your thumb presses, do a little bit of thumb sliding in that same area, and then back out the way you came in by making that sandwich, bringing the shoulder back in space, a little bit of a pectoral stretch. 3 or 4 or 5 of those. And just really small, nice little gentle resetting the kind of shoulder rotations there. And then reversing almost your position so that you're in line with their thigh. Your left hand is on top of their deltoid with your fingers pretty much in line with the muscles of their pectoral. And you're pressing forward in one plane on their hip and pulling back on that same plane on the shoulder more gently, more deeply on number 2. And the deepest you're going to go today on them, number 3. Releasing gently, placing their arm back on the pillow, and then just giving them some nice, easy, gentle palm presses up and down the spine. And then letting them know that you're going to be removing the pillow and asking them to work their way onto their belly on the center of the mat. Allowing them to know that they can do whatever they like with their arms. Their arms can be by the side, or their arms can be as a pillow underneath their head, but we don't want their arms underneath their bodies. We're going to be starting out by doing some palm presses on their feet and up and down the legs. So, kneeling at the bottom and palm pressing up and down their feet a few times, soles of their feet. Finding a hand position that gets you in there comfortably for them. Probably fingers turned in. You'll see. And then slowly with baby elephant, newborn baby elephant feet, come up. Make sure you're over your work to do 5 really nice circles on the back of their knee. Light enough not to move their legs. Palm press up. Nice meaty part of the glutes. Just press in simultaneously at the top and then work your way down. Palm circles on the knees, the popliteal section of the back of the knee. Palm press down, work your way back to stay over your work. And then we will walk on their feet. So, just doing one foot first. Being gentle if you need to be gentle, or if you know you can go deep, you can start to get in there. Bending your knee more than leaning your entire body. So sort of kind of a Tai Chi kind of feeling to it. So after 5 or 7 or some amount of those, switch to the other foot. After 5 or 7 or so of those, slowly, no acrobatics here, switch to both feet. And now we are more about shifting our body from side to side. We have not turned around yet to do our heels. And try to stay in a very similar beat. Press, 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 press. Come off before turning around. And we'll do both at the same time with either your heel or the arch of your foot, or a little of both. Watching your balance, but also remembering to pay attention to that contact of your tool, your foot to their foot. So once you find your balance, make sure you're really paying attention to how deep it is, or which part of their foot you're on. And before turning back around, come off. And we're going to get ready for cross foot stretch. So get in position for that. Bend their knees, cross one foot, not ankle, but foot on top of the other foot. Lunge forward in a half kneel with one of your feet, whichever you go for there. And with straight arms, lean in gentle. Lean back. With straight arms, lean in medium, 2. And then the deepest. This is 1, 2, 3. 3. Lean all the way out and switch their feet. You can even switch yours if you like. With straight arms, lean in gentle. Lean in medium, 2. And lean in as far as you're going to go that day with them with this stretch. Come on back out. We're going to do their left side first. So we are going to separate their feet. We're going to bring their left knee in just slightly, not extra, just in line. And we're going to bring their right foot out and cross it over into the number 4. You are half kneeling with your right foot forward, your left knee down. With your right hand, you're holding on top of their foot. With your left hand, you're reaching underneath their knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 times. 1 is bringing their heel towards their butt. 2 is lifting while straightening your body. 3 is letting it down. 4 is unpumping. Good, that's 1. Let's go for 2. Little deeper. Straighten your body with a straight arm. Come on back down. And the last and deepest, heel towards butt. Beautiful. Drop it down. Keep your hands right where they are. Slide your left hand onto their foot. Drop your right knee. Pick up your left knee. Right hand reaches across to the other side of their lower back. Good. Psoas stretch. We're leaning with a straight arm. 1, 2, 3. Lower down slowly. Give a little bit of jostling, just a little, with that hand that's in their back. Good. Work your way down below. Uncross their feet. Move their right knee back into line. Move their left knee out slightly. Cross into a 4. Good. Lunge forward in a kneel. Left foot forward. Right knee down. Left hand is on top of their foot. Right hand is underneath. Pump their heel towards their butt. Lift with a straight arm by just brightening your body up. Good. Drop the knee. Unpump. Pump their heel in a little closer. Brighten up a little bit more. Lower the knee. Unpump. Go for your deepest expression here. Lower the knee. Slide your right hand up their foot. Drop one knee. Pick up the other knee. Left hand holds the lower back. Far side. Good. Lean 1. Psoas stretch. 2. Deeper. Breathe. Deepest expression for them today. Lower slowly. Keep everything you have and just a nice little jostling up their lower back. Good. Coming down, separating things out. Bringing their feet up, stepping through, and bringing their knees together to sit on their feet. Make sure your feet are far enough forward so that you can touch their back and have your elbows bent and in your inner knee. So make sure your feet are far enough forward in order to do that. We're going to butterfly palm press with a little bit of space between our palms, the heels of our hands, so we're in the lamina groove and not right on the spine. So with your elbows touching your inner thighs or your knees, just bend your knees a little more and you'll be pressing in one. And we're coming up to that same line 3, maybe 4 times. That same line, which is that line, midline of the scapula, no higher. We're going to alternate palm press back. One side, the other side. One side, the other side. One side, the other side. A soft gorilla hand. Knuckles, but not sharp knuckles. A soft gorilla hand, just one simultaneous press. Good. Thumb action. Side by side thumbs. Lamina groove. Same thing. We're bending our knees. The same thing. Nice and slow. All of these are at the same depth. Up to the midline of the scapula. Or wherever just feels, even if you don't get up that high, whatever feels like a good stopping point. On your last press, switch to one and then the other. Kind of like a moonwalking back. As we get to the bottom, we can do a side-by-side press, and then we'll do thumb circles out the outer edges of the sacrum. Down and back up. And then we're going to do palm press simultaneously on the lower back, working our way up towards the scapula, alternating palm presses on the way back down, and then finishing with soft gorilla fists on the sacrum. Reach around behind and under you to their ankles. Raise yourself up while pressing down and rocking back and forth to bring them down. Kneeling on their buttocks for cobra. So the position in the buttocks, second position is in the crease, further down, and then back in the buttocks. I'm going to ask our receivers to relax completely while we're doing this, to not lift their back, to not use their shoulders, and to not tighten up their butt. They will be holding onto our wrists as we're holding onto theirs, and they can pick their chin up once they start being lifted off the ground. We'll be doing it with breath, and we'll be doing it with straight arms, rising up and then leaning back. So let's just take one big inhale and exhale. So the next 3 will be just like that. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, lower your butt down, straight arm. Inhale, move your knees back. Exhale, lower your butt, straight arm. Good. Inhale, move your knees back up. Exhale, come back. Twist one side, then the other side. Come back to center. Brighten up the expression in the middle, and then their head can go to one side as you lower them down. Once you are down, simultaneous palm presses, coming up the arm, being careful. Coming up onto the back, simultaneous palm press. And slowly taking your weight off of them. Asking them to slowly turn onto their back. Oh well. That cicada has a lot to say. Arm work, head and neck work. So make sure you're going to have your pillows at your feet. Their left arm first. Palm press A's, palm press B's. Yes, thank you. Let's do that. Knee to chest first. Go ahead and bring your knees together. Slowly, gently, bringing their knees towards their chest. Bringing them up to where their thigh bones are perpendicular with the floor. And doing some nice small rotations. Imagining their sacrum being flat on the mat. Lowering their feet back down. Bringing their legs back out to a straight position. And then coming around to the side. We'll do the left arm first. We'll be doing outside line first. So we'll be turning their palms down. We'll have one hand over their hand, the other hand on their shoulder as we lean in to elongate the arm. Now we'll do our opening palm press A, shimmying in towards the elbow, shimmying back out towards either end, back towards the elbow, and then hand follows hand, down to their hand. Left hand stays on top of their hand. Right hand, you make a bracelet out of your fingers, wrap it around their wrist, and pull up towards the ceiling to give them a nice stretch. Thumb on top of thumb, and that little divot on the back of their wrist starts the line. Press, and then thumb follows thumb right up the center. Press, 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 press. Coming over the elbow and working right on the outside. The line that would go straight down the deltoid is the line we're coming up. And at the apex of the deltoid, thumb on top of thumb finishes the line. And then we come back down. Press, 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 press. All the way down. Press, press to that divot on the back of the wrist. Press. When you do get there, thumb on top of thumb finishes the line. And we'll close with a palm press B. Up and down, palm chases palm. Giving that nice stretch to the wrist on the bottom. Inside line of the same arm, we're turning the palm to face up. One of your hands is on the palm, the other is on the shoulder, and we lean in to elongate the arm, and then palm press A. Press, 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 press. Eventually making our way down to the hand. We begin the line with thumb on top of thumb on the inner wrist, and then thumb chases thumb, inside line of the arm. Press, 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 press. You're finding that insertion point of the pectoral muscle by the deltoid. Thumb on top of thumb press finishes the line. And let's work our way down. Press, 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 press. Coming all the way down. Thumb on top of thumb finishes the line on the inside crease of the wrist. And let's just shut down that inner arm with the palm press B. Palm follows palm up and down. And we'll all reposition ourselves below the hand, facing up the arm towards their face to work on their hands. So we're going to be interlacing their fingers with our fingers to expose the palm. And then we'll do some nice thumb sliding. The back of their hand is sort of in your finger, sort of on the ground. Warming up the palm, some nice thumb sliding. We're going to do 6 points of the palm, 5 lines of the hand, 4 lines of the back of the hand. Simultaneous thumb presses, 6 points. We start nearest to the wrist, press in soft, go through the series, center of the palm, the fleshy part nearest the base of the fingers, back to center of palm, back to near wrist. Start again, position 1, let's hold it for 5 seconds. Switch to the center of the palm, 5 seconds. Out towards the base of the finger bone, but in the fleshy part, 5 seconds. Travel back to position 1, and here we go, light and a little quicker. Press, 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 press. Back to position 1, thumb slide. We're going to unweave our fingers to get ready for 5 lines to the bottom of the hand, 5 lines of the palm, and we're going to be doing them simultaneously. So thumb next to thumb, press together closest to the wrist and the fleshy part, and then thumb press, out towards the bony section, switching to thumb circle, come out to the ends, nice soft squeeze on the fingernail. Thumb next to thumb, presses first position, press out towards the index and ring finger. As you get to the bony portions, thumb circle, all the way out to the end, and give a nice little squeeze. Just one thumb, beginning position, come right down the center of the palm in the fleshy area, and as you get to the bony part of the middle finger, thumb circle out, squeeze, and let's do some thumb sliding to close out the palm. Turning the hand so it's palm down, 4 lines at the back. 1 thumb starts the line and then 2 thumbs come out. Our 1 thumb is in the divot of the back of the wrist. Let's squeeze in there and slightly extend the wrist. And then let's work those 2 lines. The outside of the 4 lines, jumping onto the pinky end to the thumb with thumb circles, and then popping off of one, popping off the other. 1 thumb goes in the divot, working the 2 inner of the 4 lines. As we get to the webbing between the fingers, we jump onto the index and ring finger, thumb circle out, pop off 1, Pop off the other. Middle finger into the divot, extend the wrist, and then just jump right onto the knuckle of the middle finger and thumb circle out, pop off. Place their elbow down, scoot up just a little bit. Their palm is now facing the sky, their elbows on the ground, and we're going to slide our thumbs along their palm out to their thumb and their little finger, extending their thumb and little finger. Release gently, and now let's aim those same slides towards the index and the ring finger, opening them up into full extension, nice stretch, and then just the one thumb slides across the palm and opens up the middle finger. Slowly release, giving a little bit of massage to the hand as you bring it down, and then a slight amount of pressure, just pressing it into the mat. And we'll walk around to the other side and do the other arm. We're working the outside of the arm first, so the palm will be down. Make sure their fingers are nice and flat, so flatten them out if they're bunching up at all, so that you can press your right hand on top of their entire right hand and fingers, and your left hand on their shoulder, and just lean in to elongate. And now we'll do a palm press A to open up. Press, 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 press. Coming back in, if you're with me, to meet at the elbow, and then hand follows hand down to their hand, giving a nice little wrist stretch. Thumb on top of thumb starts outside line of the arm in the divot on the back of the wrist. So thumb on top of thumb, press, and then we'll work our way up, right up the middle of the forearm. Press, 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 press. Skipping the elbow, going right up the outside of the arm, up the center line of the deltoid. Right in the middle, thumb on top of thumb pressing, and then back down. Press, 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 press. Once you do make it down to the bottom, thumb on top of thumb in a little divot on the wrist, closes the line, and then we close the outside of the arm with palm press B. Press, 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 and then that nice little stretch on the wrist. Opening up the arm, palm is facing up. Covering their hand with your hand, opening up the arm, and palm press A once again, coming in towards the elbow, going out towards either end, coming back in towards the elbow, and hand follows hand down to their hand and wrist. Inside line of the arm, thumb on top of thumb, the little divot on the inside of the wrist, and let's go up the middle. Press, 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 press. Up above the elbow. The top of the line will be that pectoral insertion, thumb on top of thumb when you get there. Whenever you're finished, come on back down the same line, right on the top of the ridge of the biceps there, and right in between all of those intricate muscles of the forearm, right in the center on your way down. And when you eventually make it back down, thumb on top of thumb, the divot of the inner wrist closes the line, and let's close the inner arm, Palm pressing up and down, palm press deep. Coming down, just face up towards their head. Work their hands, their palm, interlacing your fingers with their fingers. And then thumb sliding their palm. Getting ready to do 6 points. We'll run through the series first a little quicker and lighter, and then we'll sink in for 5 seconds and deeper, and then back again lighter. So find your first 2 positions and lean in, press, middle of the palm, press, out towards the fingers, press, back towards the middle, press, back to position 1, press and hold. Slowly release. Center position, 3 and 4, press. Release and press. Come on up to middle position, press. Come on back to first position and let's run through the series. Press, press. Out towards the fingers, press, back towards the middle, press, back towards the wrist, press, and thumb slides. Five lines. Thumb next to thumb, at the heel of their palm, press together, and then keep thumb pressing out towards the pinky and the thumb. When we get to the bony structure, thumb circle out. At the fingernail, squeeze. Thumb next to thumb, heel of their palm, press, press, separating out towards their ring finger and index finger, and then finger circling out. Squeeze. Middle line. Press, press, press. Finger circle, thumb circle out, middle finger. Whenever you get to any of the fingers you're working on there, squeeze and release, and finish that whole series with some thumb slides. And turn their palm down to get ready to do 4 lines on the back of the hand. One thumb presses into the back, the divot of the back of the wrist, and just slightly extend the wrist. And then we're going to thumb circle the outer 2 lines between the bones, between the tendons. When you get to the webbing between the fingers, we jump onto the pinky and the thumb. Pop off one, pop off the other. Thumb in that divot, extend the wrist slightly. Middle 2 lines. As you get to the webbing between the fingers, jump onto the index finger and the pointing finger, and then pop, pop. Last one, divot, extend with one thumb, and then just jump right onto the knuckle of the middle finger. Rotate out, thumb circle, and then pop off. Scoot up just enough to get their elbow down on the ground, their palm facing the sky. We're going to thumb slide out from the heel of their palm out to the pinky and the thumb, extending it out, giving it support from below. Thumb slide out towards index and ring finger simultaneously. And finally, thumb sliding out right down the middle, out the middle finger. As you back off, you're giving some nice massage on the hand, and then pressing the hand down into the mat, and then looking to see what you might need to be able to sit above your head, and gathering your things for that. and finding your comfortable position to be working above their head. You're going to need to get down low for the first part, which is going to be pressing down onto their shoulders and traps. So find a position where you can get down low. Your forearms should be able to make it almost to the ground, if not to the ground. So cupping their shoulders with our first position, our fingers draping over the deltoids. Second is going to be draping more over the clavicle. So with our fingers draped over the deltoids and our elbows and our forearms as low as possible, just press down towards their feet and hold. Slowly release. Shift your hand position. Fingers are draped over their clavicles. Your forearms are low and press. Release. Go back to first position and press. Release. We're going to be doing thumb presses along the traps from neck out to shoulders, back to neck, out to shoulders. So start at the base of the neck on either side, simultaneously pressing in with thumb presses, keeping your own elbows low, working your way out. It might be 3 spaces, it might be 4, could even be 5. Just being thorough, working your way out, keeping your pressure the same pretty much on each press, whatever feels appropriate or whatever you find. Whatever depth you pick, but try to keep it pretty consistent. If you have made it back towards the base of the neck, then you're coming back out again towards the shoulders. And after your final thumb press towards the shoulders, we'll do that series of shoulder presses again. So fingers are draped over the deltoids, press. Fingers are draped over the clavicles, press. And back to position 1. Switching to the neck, the lamina groove of the neck, we're going to reach underneath and using 2 or maybe 3 fingertips, we're going to be doing finger circles at the base of the neck and then coming up a little higher towards the occiput, doing some finger circles there simultaneously, symmetrically on either side. Now up towards the occiput, back down towards the base of the neck. At the base of the neck, our starting position. Back up again until we reach the occiput. So it's like a 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. We're back up at the occiput. So at the bottom edge of the occiput, let your fingers meet. Maybe your middle fingers are massaging the under ridge of the occiput and then come on out. Just get to know the bottom ridge of the occiput there. So come on out, come on back in. Gates of heaven. We're going to bring the heels of our hands, of our palms to meet. And now our middle fingers are pretty much touching. They're touching each other right at the base of the occiput. So their head is resting in our palms. The heels of our hands are touching each other, the inside edges, and our middle fingers are right in that pivot point underneath or beneath the occiput. We're going to lift slightly, bringing them into flexion, chin into chest, and then as we lower their head, we're going to press up into our middle fingers in that pivot point slightly. We're going to lift them again to bring their chin into their chest a little further. We're going to press up into their access point a little deeper this time. We're going to lift their chin as far into the deepest expression as we're going to go today. As we lower our hands back to the ground, we're going to press up into that access point much or anyway, deeper, and then we're going to take the inside edges of the heels of our hands away from each other to allow them to go into full extension. Slowly, while pulling back towards yourself, bringing their chin not into their chest, but into neutral position, and then slowly slide your fingers and hands out from underneath and start giving them their scalp massage. Take your depth, but try to keep it relaxing. Bringing our index and middle finger to their temples and doing some finger circles in the temples. While doing so, bringing our thumbs to their widow's peak, and then stopping our finger circles in the temples and doing some thumb presses, some thumb circles along the hairline. Returning to finger circles in the temple. Bringing our thumbs together in the midline of the forehead. Doing thumb circles down that line towards the temples. As we meet the temples with our thumbs, we switch back to finger circles in the temples. Our thumbs meet on the third eye. Our finger circles have stopped, and we're doing thumb circle, pressy kind of things out along the brow ridge. Finger circles on the temple. Each of our thumbs finds that meeting point between the face and the flare of the nostril, pressing there. And then doing a little bit of a sliding circle, thumb circle, along the bottom edge of the orbit bone, the eye bone, or the bone below the eyes, and then temple circle. Thumbs now find the upper bicuspid, just below the ridge of the nostril. Press into both of those teeth, and then slidey circles with our thumbs underneath the cheekbone. Finishing up with temple circles. Our thumbs now find the jawbone underneath the bottom lip. A little bit of press, and then thumb circles along the jawbone. Back to the temple. And then clearing any hair away you need to do some nice work on their ears. Exploring that nice sensitive area behind their ears. And then giving a nice thorough ear massage. Every part of their ear. Shutting off the ears with the fleshy part of our palm. Getting yourself in a nice position for yourself to be still. And then maneuvering that fleshy part to cover their ears, and then squeezing in just enough to really lock off the air, lock off the sound. Find some stillness. finding the right time to slowly release that and finding your way to finish your session. Beautiful, everyone.